Greetings, Richard Fulmer here, and welcome to another Richard's Rock Rambles live albums. So today's band is one from the UK by the name of Ufo, a melodic hard rock band that started out in the late 60s, early 70s. And I think they were a going concern up until about a year ago when the lead singer Phil Mogg decided to pull the plug for health issue related things, and also I think the band had run its course, and he was like the main guy right throughout their career, and without him there I don't think there could have been a UFO. So we can have a look at their live album called Strangers in the Night, and for many this would probably be in their top 5 live albums of all time, rock albums that is. And on another channel here on YouTube, Sea of Tranquility, this one came out tops when Pete Pardo had a sort of a playoff between live albums, sort of a competition if you like, and UFO Strangers in the Night came out tops, and there's a reason for that. The album, it's at their peak. They're at their peak, UFO. They still had Michael Schenker. He would leave right after this live album, or shortly after this live album, and come back, I think, in 1993. But these guys were firing on all cylinders around this time. Phil Mogg, as I mentioned, a great front man, excellent voice. And I'll go through the rest of the guys in a minute. But yeah, just a great time for them. And they were just starting to peak. And they did pretty well in the States, which is where this live album was recorded. It was recorded at the International Amphitheater in Chicago between the 13th and the 18th of October, 1978. There's quite a few nights that they performed live there, and it was released on the 2nd of January 1979, so there was a couple of months, and then it was released, and it was on the Chrysalis label, which of course was the label that Jethro Tull was also on famously, and produced by Ron Nevison, a well-known producer around in the 70s. And yeah, as I said, this will be the final concerts to feature Michael Schenker before he rejoined in 1993, and I think he went on to do about another 2 albums with them, and then he eventually left for good. I think he came back later on for a few guest appearances, but he wasn't a fully paid up member of the band after I think about 95 when he went and did his own thing. Always a bit erratic, old Michael, always does his own thing. He never followed the book, the book of rules. He had his own book of rules. There's a great 2020 deluxe edition of this particular album, which is a box set with 8 discs in it, if you can believe that. So they've got through all the different nights, different venues. Yeah, that's one that I would really like to get hold of, because I've had a look at that on another channel. They unboxed it. Really looks good. And yeah, that's with different venues featured. So in the band for this live album, we had Phil Mogg on vocals, Pete Way on bass, sadly no longer around. Great Pete Way. He partied hard, especially around this time. I mean, all those guys did. They used to do tours with bands like Rush. If you can think Rush, they were pretty much a teetotaling band, very meek and mild as compared to these guys. These guys partied hard. I mean, when they came off the stage, the fun didn't stop there. It carried on for quite a while. So that was Pete Way on bass, Andy Parker on drums, rock solid drummer. Him and Pete Way were like that. Michael Schenker on guitar, the great Michael Schenker playing his Flying V with that particular tone that he gets. Excellent guitarist. When he was very young, he was very, very fiery. He was hungry for action. Started out with the Scorpions, of course. And yeah, then he went over to UFO. They stole him from the Scorpions. And a guy on keyboards, guitar, and backing vocals called Paul Raymond, also no longer around, unfortunately. And he just gave a nice backing on the guitar, just filled out the sound a bit. The album reached number 7 in the UK, which wasn't too shabby, and it went on to silver in the UK, which is 60,000 units. So not quite gold or platinum, but still not too bad. So let's have a look at the cover. There we go. If you can see the glare there. UFO Strangers in the Night. And this is the 1993 or 1999. I just can't see this date here. 1999. This is the EMI re-release, and it has 2 bonus tracks at the top there, which are Hot and Ready, live in Youngstown in 78, and Cherry, live in Cleveland in 78. The rest of the album is as it was on the original vinyl. Excuse me. So what are the tracks on here? I mean, I got all the hits on here from the early UFO albums. Let It Roll, great rocking track that. And as I mentioned, Paul Raymond and Michael Schenker fill out this album really well, trading off riffs and licks. Love to Love, that's a slightly slower song. These guys were very melodic. They could do the ballad type stuff as well as the hard rockers equally well. Natural Thing, that's one of my favorite tracks. It starts off a little slow and then just kicks in. Andy Parker on the drums and of course Pete Way on the bass. Out in the Street, Only You Can Rock Me, another very big early hit of theirs. Mother Mary, another slower ballad type song with great vocals from Phil Mogg. I think he's a guy that doesn't get enough credit as a singer in rock. You know, to me, he's right up there with the Paul Rodgers and the Robert Plants of the world. This Kids is the next track, and then their biggest hit, Doctor Doctor. I mean, who doesn't know Doctor Doctor? If you're even a passing sort of UFO fan, you should know that track. I'm a Loser was the next track. Lights Out, which was the title track from that album. Great rocker. Rock Bottom, Too Hot to Handle, and Shoot Shoot. Excellent live album. As I said, the production on here was great. The interaction with the audience is great. I mean, Phil Mogg's quite an amusing character. I think one of the songs he says, I'm a bit confused here with your licensing laws. As I said, yeah, they partied hard, so he had a bit of an issue with that. So let's see if anything I can show you. Unfortunately, this isn't the box set, which I would love to show you. That's got some incredible live photographs and photographs of them off stage and the whole story of them. But hey, we'll have to do with this for the moment. Let's see if there's anything inside here. I think there's an inside photograph. Okay, there we go. There's Michael Schenker there with the blonde hair. That's Andy Parker on drums. That's Phil Mogg. That's Pete Way. And that's Paul Raymond. Anything else? That just folds out. And that just tells you the whole story of the live album and the tracks. Let's see if it says anything else here. No, that's pretty basic. Yeah, that says here, special thanks to our friend and guitarist, Paul Chapman. So he was also part of this. Paul Chapman would actually go on to join them when Schenker leaves. And a really good guitarist, quite adequate and a good stand-in. Very different style, obviously. So he would also have a history with UFO. There we go. If you haven't got this in your collection, I urge you to get it. As I said, it's probably one of the best live albums from the 70s. Sound-wise, and these guys rocked. I mean, it's another one of those bands like Thin Lizzy and Golden Earring and a few others that you kind of wonder if they hadn't made it bigger in the States. You know, if they just made it bigger in the States, I reckon they would have been a little bit more elevated. Not quite up there with the Deep Purples and the Uriah Heeps and the Black Sabbaths, but not far behind. So there we go, UFO, Strangers in the Night, a must-have. So we're going to do one more live album show, and that'll be the next time around, and we're going to look at a gentleman who did so many live albums. So I've got to cherry pick a few, and we'll have a look at those, and I'm talking about Frank Zappa. Yep. He's a person, I love Frank Zappa, I have for many years, and he's a hard guy to pin down because he did jazz, he did jazz rock fusion, he could do the hard rock stuff if he wanted to, he could do doo-wop, he could do jazz, he could do anything. In fact, I think Zappa probably has his own genre, Frank Zappa music. So we'll have a look at a few, primarily I think from the 70s, which is my favorite period for Frank Zappa. And then, we'll carry on with something different after that. Have yourselves a great week, guys. Look after yourselves. Take it easy out there. It's getting really hot here in Cape Town at the moment. So the brown ale is flowing, which is always a good thing. I'll catch you soon. Cheers.